So the other day, I'm on Facebook and I tell everybody that I'm doing these cans things now, and I tell them, hey, what would you pay? I guess I asked them. I asked them, what would you pay for a finished one of these? This one's not finished. Imagine that it's finished. I asked them, what would you pay for a finished one of these? And the responses would surprise you. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dave Connery, and I'm an artist designer based in Southern California, and I'm here to go on a creative exploration with you. I'm here to be your Sherpa. I'm here to be your guide. I'm here to be your Sacagawea as we go into the creative world, into new creative territory, or maybe the same creative territory in new and different ways. But today, actually, what we're going to be talking about is not just these projects, because I've talked about these enough, but they are the premise for why I am talking to you today, because I'm talking to you today about how to know your worth and get the value that you want out of the art that you sell. So yes, I posted up on Facebook about how I have these things for sale, and I have a few of them up on my website right now. I asked people, hey, what would you pay for these? Before you guess what some of those people said, understand something. This is not a typical expression of art, and there are people out there in the world who will look at this and not quite be sure. They won't know what it is. They just can't expand their minds enough that if it's not on a canvas, then it's not art in the sense that they understand. It just doesn't make sense to them. So considering that, try to keep an open mind when I tell you that the responses that I got when I asked, what do I charge for these? And I asked that because this is as new to me as it is to other people, but I still understand that it's an original piece of art and that it has a value. It has a certain value. I have an idea in my head, but I wanted to see what other people said. The responses I got were somewhere between $20 and $30 or $35. To say that I was dismayed would be an understatement. This can is made from one of these cans, and this can, when you go to the store, and the most reasonably priced store that I know of will charge me $9 for this can. So I use the can, I do the work, and then I turn it into this. And now you only want me to charge 20 bucks for this original piece of art. Sure, it doesn't fit what you normally believe to be art, but it is still art. Do you appreciate it? I don't know. Do you like my work? I don't know. Let's assume that you do like my work. Let's assume you do appreciate art. How on earth is this thing only worth $20 to you? Even if it's at the higher end of that scale that they were producing, how is this only worth $35 to you? I'm only supposed to make between $10 and $15 or $20 profit by something that took me a really... Hold on. So a while back, I painted a whole bunch of these. Not too long ago, you probably saw the video for that. I painted these en masse. I painted a bunch of... I don't remember if this was one of them, but I painted a bunch at the same time. I painted like 9 or 10 at the exact same time. And I did them all in the process of about maybe 4 or 5 hours total for the entire set. If you go to my website right now, you will pay $100 for one of these. It's an original piece of art. In the scope of art, it's a really good deal to get one of these for $100. 11 by 14. Like, it's got texture, you can actually feel it, and it's nice. I actually like this one a lot, so I may keep it, but I don't know. You can, I have others. When I make these cans right here, it takes me longer to do one than it did for me to do an entire series of this whole set of originals. And you only want to pay $20 for it. And so you can probably assume I wasn't having any part of that conversation. In fact, I pretty much told everybody there in the thread, like, are you out of your freaking mind? I didn't quite say it like that, but that's kind of like the sentiment that was behind what I said. Now listen, this conversation is not about me ranting about my art and I should get paid for my art. Yes, I should get paid for my art, but you should get paid for your art too. We should be getting what we believe the value for our work. I'm not saying price it however you feel that you want to price something like that, just $10 million just because, somebody like Cause went out and sold a $10 million painting. No, you don't get to do that. But if you want to, this canvas is large. Look at that. That's a good sized canvas. That canvas is gonna cost a reasonable amount of money. Is it gonna cost absurd amount of money? No. Is it gonna be priced so far out of the market that I'll never ever see any money for it? No. If you expect to pay $300 for something like that, you're out of your mind. That's the relationship I have with this. Like, this should be, I'm charging $50 for these right now, as is, as they are, as they stand right like this. But I'm gonna be changing them up. I'm gonna be making these little shadow boxes, and I'm gonna put them in the shadow box, and I'm gonna paint the shadow box, and I'm gonna mount them. As soon as I do that, their price goes up because of two reasons. Number one, I've added to them, and so they should be worth more. Number two, I've put them in a framework that looks more like art, and so you neophytes who believe that they should be worth less now have to pay more because I put it into a framework that makes it go like, oh, so that's what it is. So you could have got one at 50, but very, very soon, they're gonna be worth more. Because I know my worth, and you should know your worth too. But guess what? It's not up to the customer to fully grasp that concept. You have to let them know what your worth is, and you have to explain to them what your worth is. You have to stand up for your worth, and there is a couple of ways that you do that. First, use some sort of formula that creates an ideal pricing grid for your work, depending on what it is that you do. If you do sculpture type stuff, then figure out, what do other sculpturists that do something even remotely similar, what do they charge for their work? What's the range on their stuff, and how do you feel you fall in that range? If it's large canvases, if it's works on paper, how does your work fall within the range of other people that you appreciate? And you have to look at it not just as like, who's the best-selling artist ever, or who's the worst-selling artist ever, but who is operating kind of at the same scale that you are, the same notoriety that you are, selling the same amount of pieces that you are, whether you are or not, and then work according to that scale. Once you've established that scale, raise your price by 10%. Because I guarantee you that you probably priced it a little bit too low. The second thing you do once you've established your price and you've raised yourself 10% is you do not waver on that price. You set that price and you live and die by that price. If you sell it online, you sell it by that price. If you sell it in person, you sell it by that price. If you go to Etsy or some other online platform and sell it, you sell it at that price, and you don't waver. You don't discount, you don't offer coupon codes. Maybe you can offer free shipping because that doesn't touch the art. That's something different. I offer free shipping on my stuff because it doesn't touch the art. The price of the art is what it is. It does not change. And if it does change, it only goes one direction. When we stick to our pricing, when we do not waver on our price, we hold tough to our pricing, we are giving the message to the customers that this is our worth. This is what this work is worth. You pay this much because that is what it's worth right now. Tomorrow, it might be worth more. Way down the road, it's gonna be worth a lot more than that. Today, the price you pay is the price you pay. If we give in and alter our price, come down in price for different shows, do different things like that. For art, you can do this for other things. You sell t-shirts and posters like my friend Adam. Sure, by all means, discount away because those things are mass produced and it's not art. But art shouldn't be done like that because when you do it, you change the mindset of the people who are buying it. You are telling them that your work is not worth what you originally told them and that it's actually worth less. And so you are programming them to think that they are gonna get a discounted price if they just ask or show that they can pay less or require the artist to change their pricing for their own mindset. Because somebody else along the way has told them that the pricing can change if I just look at you funny. When they see the art in the galleries, they see the art with the dealers, or they see the art in art fairs or whatever, and it's high dollar pricing, they know that yes, that's what those cost. That's what the art costs in those places. But when they see it in these other places, they know that these people are a little more desperate. They're a little bit more hand to mouth. And so maybe, just maybe, I can talk them down in their price. The more often they do it, the more often the rest of the world sees it, the more often you believe that your work should be discounted, and you continue to do it, and we all continue to do it, and then ultimately somebody turns around and says, yeah, I'll give you 20 bucks for that. Know your worth. So now you're probably saying to yourself, or you're asking me through the ether, you're saying, hey Dave, great, thanks. I'm gonna keep my prices where they're at, but fool, what am I gonna do about all these people who don't wanna buy my work now? How am I gonna sell to people that don't wanna pay what I've decided the work is worth? We're running long, but I'm gonna get through this little list of mine that I've got here for you because I want you to understand that it is possible. It will take time, it will take energy, and you're not gonna start selling out overnight. But if you do these things, over time you will start establishing yourself as a serious artist and people start looking at you in a much different light. Rule number 1, stop trying to sell to the unsellable. Those people that wanted to pay me $20 for this, if I turned around and told them, tough shit, it's $100 now, just because you said that, they're not gonna buy because I kind of flew in their face. And that's okay, because I know that they weren't gonna buy from me even if it was $50. Because they only wanted to pay $20. So I'm not even gonna bother trying to sell to them. If they want it badly, they can pay the price that I have established them to be. If they don't wanna pay that price, then they were never gonna buy from me in the first place. So I'm not wasting any more energy on them at all. Number 2 rule, don't just sit there and try to sell. Don't promote, don't push, don't do everything in your power to say, hey, I've got new art, hey, I've got new art, hey, I've got new art. Buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Stop that. Instead, create value. Create value for people so that they look at you as somebody who will inform them, entertain them, educate them, just kind of be something that they can turn to and talk to and listen to. They know that the person that they're listening to or talking to, or whoever, is not just gonna hit them over the head with sales every chance they get. I make these videos, I make my podcasts, I make my posts on Instagram, I do all of the different things, not because I want to sell every single person here something. Hey, if you want to buy something from me, more power to you, but the link is in the description and that's all I'm going to give you. You can do whatever you want with that. I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this to help people. I'm doing this to inform and entertain and educate people. I'm doing the podcast for the exact same reason. I want people out there to understand that there's people willing to stand behind them, to get their back when they're up against that wall. I don't know, that didn't even make sense. I'm there to fight with you so that you don't feel alone in this world, and I get juice from that. I'm just here trying to help other people out. I get a good vibe from it, and that's all that matters to me. If people buy my stuff after the fact, great, then that worked. And it has worked. In fact, now that I think about it just for a second, the last several people who have bought from me were people that were not necessarily true collectors. They didn't seek me out for my art. They didn't find my work out of the ether and say, I want to buy some of that. They were people that have been around here for a very long time, stuck it out, been loyal followers, been loyal commenters. I have helped them in some way, shape, or form, and they said, you know what, I'm going to reward Dave for all of his efforts by buying some of his stuff. I didn't say, hey, you need to go buy some stuff because you've been here for too long and consuming all my stuff. You should feel bad, go buy my stuff. I never said that. I want to keep making stuff here and creating value for people because I want people to feel good about themselves, about their art, about their work. And some of them turn around and say, Dave, you made me feel good, so I'm going to turn around and make you feel good by going and buying some of your stuff. Special shout out to David Macauley. He was the most recent person. In fact, he was the first person to buy one of these cans. Big thumbs up to him. Go find him on Instagram at 3.pics. I think that's what it is. I'm terrible about name recall at the moment of truth. Yes, go find him on Instagram at 3.pics. I'll put a link in the description. Third rule is to expand your reach by staying local. Reach out as far as you can within your own community. Start reaching out to other artists, other creative people, other organizations. If there's galleries in your place, go there and just hang out. Be a patron, be a fan. Go support them in any way, shape, or form. If you have a group on Facebook that's local that talks about creative work, go be part of that. Go be part of that scene. Go connect with these other people. Create an art collective within your group. You listen to the most recent episode of the Art Lessons podcast. I was talking with my friend Steph Hahn, who is also an artist here locally, and we were talking about doing more locally so that we can create more of a vibe in this joint. We can create more of a scene here. The problem is that we don't have the gallery support here. We don't have a whole lot of really fine established galleries, and we would like to draw some of those people in, and the way to do that is to show the world that we have an actual art scene happening here. This is a long-term process, but it starts by her and I getting together and hanging out, and then grabbing another person and getting them to hang out, and then another person getting them to hang out, and then all of us going to an art event and hanging out and introducing new people to the group and bringing everybody in for a great big group hug, and next thing you know, we've got a movement. And when you create a movement, you start selling shit. I just realized the camera had turned off and I don't even know where it ended. I'm just gonna pick this up and say, look, go create a scene, and I don't mean a bad one. Go create a scene within your group. Go connect to people. Go create value and share your stuff with other people. Stop trying to sell to the people that aren't gonna buy your stuff ever. And guess what? Hold true to your worth. All right, so that's pretty much it. Just a little update again. I've got these 3 in the works. As you can see, they're still a work in progress. And then this is new. The other piece that was on the easel there before actually went to a friend, another person who has continually bought my stuff because I continue to create value for them. So that one's gone and in their house now, and this is the new one. It was actually an old one that I had painted over, but some of these spots were really interesting, so I left them open, and then we're gonna see what else we're gonna do here. I'm gonna tell you something a little funny. I'm actually kind of digging it just the way it is. It needs something, but I think I'm gonna almost leave it well enough alone. A little something though. All right, that's it folks. I am out. It's late. Thursday night, 9 o'clock. This thing has to be out Friday morning. So be good today, be even better tomorrow. See ya. Man, I can go on and on and on.